Morning. So somebody requested how to make a TN or traveler's notebook. I did do a video on how to make a traveler's notebook cover for all the little notebooks or yeah, out of a placemat. So if you haven't seen that one, watch that one and then come or do these first. It doesn't really matter which order you do it in, but I don't really measure, so I just go by Traveler's Notebook first, then I make the journal cover. In this case, I bought these Mombi kits sometime this summer. There was this one and there was another one about friends, but this is a mom one, which I thought was kind of cool. And I thought, if you have a new mom in the family or as a baby shower gift or something like that, I thought something like this that is already a kit, especially if someone's not a scrapbooker, this is a good way to sort of make a mini traveler's notebook scrapbook. Does that make sense? Let's hope so. If not, you'll get the gist when I put it together. So I'm going to just take it out. It comes with everything, which is what is so nice about it. Let's see. I haven't taken this one out yet. How do I take it out? I gotcha. There we go. The beauty of this, it already has the coordinating papers in it, so it's very simple to just sort of put together. It's just have to sort of figure out what size you want. So if you want several different notebooks, you can absolutely split these in half because they're 12 by 12. So you can do them in half and then you fold them in half. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take all these little extra pieces out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the papers and see how we can do this. Because what we'll do is we'll make it a little bit smaller. So the thing is, something like this, I mean, it's not a big deal if it has words on it because you can always cover it up with a sticker, which is just fine. See, something like that. It says nap time hustler, but, if you go to cut this in half, it would be difficult. But it is doable. So let's do this one first. So we're going to do, because they're 12 by 12, we're going to do 6 by 6. And you can adjust this if you have all kinds of scrap papers left over. This is perfect for that kind of project because then you get to use up all the scrap papers and then you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to just cut a bunch of these and then I will show you how to put these together. I think sometimes these little notebooks or traveler's notebooks, you can make them any size. There is no right way or wrong way or, sizing wise. You can just do whatever you feel like. You can add regular paper to it. You can do, see, this one I went wrong with. What did I do? But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because sometimes you can just do it a little bit different. I don't know what happened there. Odd. Sometimes you can just sort of go by feel and see how you want to put it together. Like I said, you can add line paper to this if you wanted to do journaling. If you would like to just do, blank paper so people can just put stamps in it. You can put it all together and then just leave a spot for photographs and journaling for the mom-to-be kind of thing. Something like this you could even use very simply. I mean, for the most part, it's there, so it's not that big a deal. I'm just going to go for it. For a $4 kit, you can really get a lot of use out of it. And then you can just sort of play by ear and see how you want to put it together. You can rip these by hand too. You can just use a ruler if you wanted to. So something like this. It's got the words on one side, so I know that I want to keep the words on one side. So when you go to fold it and open it, you can do it that way. I've made a bunch of these before and it turned out rather well. But I just used scrap paper. So in this case, these are going to be a little bit bigger because it's going to be 6 by 12. So when you fold them in half, it's going to be 6 by 6. And you can still use a placemat to make the journal cover. So that is not a problem. And if you find you need to laminate these, if you have a laminator, by all means, go for it. Especially for the outside cover. And then you can laminate that one, because when you go put it in the journal, or in the whatchamacallits, the book, cover, that's the word I'm looking for, then the elastic is not going to rip the paper when you go to put it together. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. So again, you can use any one of these as a cover. So I tend to use the prettier ones. So something like this could be a good cover. You can use I don't know, blank paper, like I said. Use up your scraps. This is a good job for scrap papers and whatnot else, because it's one of those things you usually have on hand. And this one's not going to work. The thing is, if you miscut something like this, that's okay, because what you can do is you can cut little strips and then put it on the inside of the traveler's notebook. So you can use it as a banner or a border or whatever. So let's say one of these is no good, and then the other one, you know, like I just did. I'm keeping it real here, you know. It's just one of those things. Sometimes, you know, life just throws you a curveball. You just go with it. And then you can just use this as a accent piece inside the notebook. It works just as well. So something like this, you can fold it the other way, because then you have it on the inside. So sometimes you'll have, so anything that has wording on it like this, you want to fold towards the inside, so that when you open up your notebook, you can put it in the very, very center of the notebook, and that'll be your main page for that, which is kind of nice. You can do something a little bit different each time. It doesn't always work out, and you can, if you find you've folded it wrong, just fold it the other way. It's not the end of the world. It all depends on what you feel like doing. So let's say, okay, I'm not done yet, apparently. It just depends. It's just very random. One way, the other way, doesn't matter. You can do whatever you feel like. This one just happens to work out nicely. I'm going to fold this one this way, I think. Now, I don't have a long arm stapler. I'm just using my regular stapler here. And if you have one of these foam pads, I just got mine at $1 or $2. You could use fun foam, like several layers of it. It works just as well. I've done that before, and that's how we're going to do it. It's very simple. There's really not a whole lot to it. Okay. This way. So the idea is to sort of stagger them one way or the other way. And once you get them all folded, there we go. You just sort of want to keep things together. Now you just need to choose which one you want to keep as your cover. So I like this one as a cover. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can go either way. It doesn't matter. It depends. 4, 5. That's usually a good size for a traveler's notebook. Again, it's just basically a mini album. All you're doing is your dimensions. That's it. So usually try to put 5 together. So I like the stripe also. 1, 2, 3. Because then you can have blank spaces and then you can just do whatever you feel like. So it depends on how you want to put it together, right? 2, 4. Let's see. You want to make sure all your words are the right way. I've done it the wrong way before. It's no fun. 4, 5. I tried to keep it to 5. So that's 2 notebooks. All right. Just going to set them aside for now. And then we're going to do another cover. Let's see. We have stripe and we have flower. Let's see, what can we do? Something solid. Yeah, there we go. Why not? 3, 4. See how they coordinate nicely together? So you can make it a little bit busier, you can make it less busy, whatever you feel like doing. That is the beauty of any of these. And you just sort of play with it. There we go. Make sure to... Then when you go to put the notebooks together, see how the colors just sort of go nicely? Because it's already a coordinating set. 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you find you have extras left over, that's okay. Because we can always do something a little bit different with it. You can use them as scrap papers. You can do whatever you feel like. So even something like this, even though it's only part of it, you can still do it that way because it will look nice once it's in the journal cover. So this will be nice too. If you find you have an odd number left over, it depends on what there is. What you can do is you can just add 1 to each. So we can do 6 instead of 5. Let's see if we'll do it that way. And just play around with it, see how it works for you. The more blank pages you have, the easier it would be to put together. But the idea is to use up what you have and to make full use of a paper pad or even your leftovers, you know, from other things. Let's say somebody's traveling and you have a travel paper pad left over. but you don't know what to do with it, this would be perfect time to use it up. And you can just sort of tuck it away, and you can make it a special gift for someone. So now that you have your notebooks, and that's okay. So there's our notebooks. Now all we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're going to take some clips. Where do I have my clips? Just a second. Apparently I don't. Yes, I do. So this works a little bit better if you just sort of clip them together. And then I just put it right here and here. Because you don't want it moving on you when you go to put the staples in. And this is a little bit finicky sometimes, but it works just as well with paper clips. You don't have to use the binder clips if you don't want to. This just gives you an idea of how to put it together. And then you have your space in there. So it's going to be a little bit awkward, but all you're going to do is you're going to take it to the edge of your desk, and then you're going to move this forward, and then all you're going to do is put your staples right into the spine. And if it's off a little bit, that's okay. You'll get to know your stapler, and then all you're going to do is you're going to take your little bone folder or whatever you have, and you're going to flatten your staples so you don't cut yourself on them. And that is it. Now, if you're really OCD about this and you feel like all the papers need to line up perfectly, by all means trim them. If you're okay with it, then just leave it as is. But here you go. That's all you have to do. And then you can just put them together. Again, if you wanted to, like, see, even I don't measure properly. Sometimes it's easier if you don't put it together. Let's see if I can do it without the binder clips. It's a question of knowing where your staples go. There we go. Lining it up. That's better. See, I do better without the binder clips. Who knew? There we go. This would make a great gift because it already has everything together. And then you can just, you could even do each page with all the stickers that came with it and whatnot else. You could add stamps, you can add some quotes, you can do whatever you feel like. And if you find this really bothers you, take it out, do it over. It's not the end of the world. I'll do it later, but for now, it's just a question of showing you how simple it is to just use a regular stapler and just putting it through. Make sure you have your foam pad underneath or some fun foam, because otherwise you're going to have holes in your desk. And nobody wants that. There we go. So this one, you know, when you go to open it, it would have the wording on the inside, which is nice this way. Keep it all together. You can round the corners if you want. You can trim the edges. You can do a scalloped edge. Use your fancy scissors and, yeah, do whatever you feel like doing. Okay, one more. Might as well finish it while I'm at it. There we go. Line it up. Put it in. And close them up. Careful you don't cut yourself on those staples. They're sharp. There. And that is it. 4 notebooks. Traveler's notebooks. And you can just put those into a cover. And you're good to go. So I hope this was helpful. For those of you who had questions on how to make traveler's notebooks, simple. Use up your scraps. Use up a kit. You could do a whole paper pad like this and then, you know, find different placemats to go with it for color. Or you can laminate cardstock and use that as a journal cover too, whichever way you want to do it. Like I said, I don't have a laminator, otherwise I would totally do that. But I've done in the past is tape the edges near the top and near the bottom so that when I put it into the journal cover, the edges won't rip. Because sometimes when you're handling it quite often, it could potentially perforate the paper on the spine. So you just have to be, cautious of that. But other than that, should be good to go. So I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.